Good evening and welcome to Breaking News on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. It's been a few days now, the shocking murder of Atiq Ahmed and Ashraf, which took place late night on Saturday. Many questions have been left unanswered. People were waiting for the Chief Minister to speak. The Chief Minister, who's usually very, very vocal in issues of law and order and also very quick to take the credit of such encounters, give a pat on the back to their police. Since the time these killings have taken place of Atiq and Ashraf, ladies and gentlemen, today the Chief Minister finally decided to speak. These are the visuals of the day when Atiq and Ashraf were gunned down at 10:30 p.m. On Saturday evening. And post that, we were waiting for the Chief Minister to speak. The Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh has finally spoken. Questions on the law and order situation of the state, questions on the police of his state. The Chief Minister decided to answer them with this message.
उत्तर प्रदेश दंगों के रूप में कुख्यात था। बहुत सारे जनपद तो ऐसे थे जहां के नाम से लोग डरते थे। आज मित्रों, उत्तर प्रदेश में किसी जनपद के नाम से डरने की आवश्यकता नहीं, और इसीलिए मैं आप सबको इस बात के लिए आश्वस्त कर सकता हूं, उत्तर प्रदेश ने अपनी उस दंगों के लिए हर दूसरे तीसरे दिन एक दंगा होता था। 2012 से 17 के बीच में 700 से अधिक दंगे उत्तर प्रदेश में हुए थे। 2007 से 2012 के बीच में 364 से अधिक दंगे यूपी में हुए थे। लेकिन 2017 से लेकर 2023 में एक भी दंगा यूपी में नहीं हुआ।
The Chief Minister did not speak directly about Atiq and Ashraf, but did say that there is end of mafia raj in Uttar Pradesh and the rule of law has been established under the Yogi Adityanath government. That has been the big pitch of the Uttar Pradesh government. But the Chief Minister is also well aware of the recent spate of deadly crimes in the state. I want to just set out a few examples for you, ladies and gentlemen. In Jalgaon, a 20-year-old girl who was returning from her college was shot dead in broad daylight, that too on a busy street. If the criminals did not have a free run, would this crime would have taken place? Let me take you to Unnao, which is just about an hour's drive from the Chief Minister's residence in Lucknow. It's between the place is between Unnao, is between Lucknow and Kanpur. A rape victim's house was burned down. Her 17-month child was injured. And who were the perpetrators? The people, those who were accused of gang raping a minor. They came out on bail, went to the family, put pressure on them to take the case back. When the family refused, they beat them up and burned their house. If there was fear of law, this wouldn't have taken place. In Hardoi, a 15-year-old girl was raped. A video was made, and this video went viral. And this is apart from the chilling murder of Atiq and Ashraf. And then, of course, 2 months back, the broad daylight killing of Umesh Pal. The key witness, a lawyer, in which Atiq's son, Asad, was leading half a dozen shooters. All that happened in quite a filmy andaz, as they say in Uttar Pradesh. If there was rule of law, if people were not scared, were scared of the police, these incidents would not have happened. And if it was happening in some other state, the BJP would have been very, very quick to label that state Jungle Raj. Atiq and Ashraf, there are a lot of questions now are being asked. Many questions unanswered. Questions like, why was the security reduced from 100 cops to about 20? And these are giving rise to direct blame, or at least fingers being pointing out at the collusion of the state and the police in some way. Questions have also been asked of why Atiq and his brother Ashraf were taken for medical examination late in the night. Did the police do enough after the first shot was fired? They were armed. They did not retaliate. How did 3 men carrying guns get so close to heavily protected Atiq and Ashraf? Why was the security reduced from 100 cops to only 20 when there were already apprehension that this kind of a killing could take place? Why was car ferrying Atiq and Ashraf stopped beyond the gates of the hospital? Why were they made to walk? Why did the cops not even fire a single shot in retaliation when all this was taking place? Some questions that we are hoping a thorough investigation is going to answer. But whatever is happening as far as this case is concerned, there are two narratives coming out. One narrative which is blaming the Uttar Pradesh government, the other coming out and calling it fake narration, fake optics, fake agenda against the government of Uttar Pradesh. The murder of these two men, the dreaded mafia, Atiq and Ashraf, has now also pitted two important legal minds of the country against each other. Kapil Sibal, Member of Parliament and also a senior lawyer, had tweeted a few days back in which he said on the day of the killing of Atiq and Ashraf, Atiq Ahmed and brother Ashraf killed in Uttar Pradesh. He said two murders in UP, Atiq Ahmed and brother Ashraf, and the rule of law. This was responded by Mahesh Jethmalani, BJP MP from Rajya Sabha and a senior lawyer himself, who today said there is not a slightest shred of evidence of any conspiracy in the murder of Atiq Ahmed and his brother Ashraf involving anyone in the state government or the police of Uttar Pradesh. Yet the entire opposition has already called the murders as an encounter. Both these leaders, important senior leaders, legal minds, having a go at each other. Before we go across and talk about what's happening, where does the buck stop as far as these killings are concerned, let me very quickly go across and introduce my first guest. Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani is joining us at this moment. Mr. Jethmalani, thank you for speaking to us here on Breaking Views, sir. I want to start by asking you, Mr. Jethmalani, I saw a tweet today in which you are saying that there is not a shred of evidence that suggests any conspiracy involving the state government or the state police. While the opposition may not have any evidence to back their claim, which sort of or set of evidence do you have, Mr. Jethmalani, which you are privy of some investigation to dismiss these assertions and give a clean sheet completely to the government of Uttar Pradesh and the UP police, sir?
No, I haven't given a clean sheet to anybody. I've just said that those who are alleging that there's a conspiracy, those who are saying that this is an encounter, right? And when you say it's an encounter, suggest that there's an involvement of the state government or the UP police force, right? I'm only saying that they have no evidence. I'm saying that the judicial inquiry which has been appointed by the state government of UP, let's wait for that. I don't have the evidence. But at the moment, there is not a shred of evidence to suggest what they have. You should be asking the onus is on those people who make the allegation.
Mr. Jethmalani, you in your tweet, you have at least 2 or 3 times quoted Mr. Kapil Sibal, or at least have asked him certain questions. Let me ask you this, sir. Mr. Sibal raised some questions on the brazen murder and called out the law and order situation in Uttar Pradesh. If the state police, which had the responsibility to protect these criminals going through a judicial process, no matter who they are and what they have done, he tweeted, and I'm reading from his tweet, he said, murders in Uttar Pradesh, Atiq Ahmed and brother Ashraf and rule of law. How is this, as per you, Mr. Sibal's attempt to portray these brothers as martyrs, sir?
Well, the fact of the matter is, they were killed by 3 complete strangers. Nobody knows who they are. There's an investigation going on. How can you portray them as martyrs? I mean, these people are certainly not martyrs. They have been, they are major mafiosi. They've killed witnesses in the case. They've killed, Mr. Sibal talks about murder of democracy. These people, Atiq Ahmed is responsible for the killing of an MP who won his seat. When he became an MP, his assembly seat was rendered vacant. And Atiq and his family are involved in the murder of that MLA, Raju Pal. It is Pooja Pal, his wife, who has filed the FIR in which he's involved and which he's charge sheeted. And by the way, murder of democracy, I'll give you another example. In 2006, the prime witness in this very case in which he has been charge sheeted, the prime witness, Umesh Pal, whom he had killed the other day through his son Assad, that prime witness, who's a lawyer, was kidnapped in 2006 and forced to make a statement again saying that Atiq was not involved. What are we talking about? Murder of democracy? This has been going on under the nose of the Samajwadi Party government, which has elected Mr. Kapil Sibal to the Rajya Sabha recently. What has happened to this man's criminal record of 100 FIRs? Who is responsible for all these years? Who was in power in UP up till 2015?
No, but Mr. Jethmalani, does the criminal record of these two men, does it justify in some way the way they have been murdered, sir?
In this country, there are 100 custodial deaths every year, minimum. In the last year, it was 166. What is this selective choice of Mr. Sibal and his cohorts and other supporters in the media and the opposition? Why are you not raising your voice against people more deserving than a mafiosi chief who's a murderer, an extortionist, a kidnapper?
Okay.
And this he's been going on for a long year. He has unleashed a reign of terror in UP. And this is the custodial death. First of all, it's not a custodial death.
Okay.
You imagine it's a custodial death. We do not know that those three people who assassinated him when he was going to a medical checkup,
right,
what their motivations were.
But sir,
Mr. Atiq Ahmed and his brother had a lot of enemies.
But sir,
he has unleashed a reign of terror, I said.
Does
Any
that
one
mean,
of his terror or murder or kidnapping victims could have done
does
this.
that mean that there should be...
It's too early to jump to conclusions. This is a political surmise made by Mr. Sibal and his ilk.
Okay, but does that mean, Mr. Jethmalani, that no questions should be asked around the circumstances in which this killing has taken place? Mr. Sibal, and I'm quoting another tweet of his, he said he has put out a list of circumstances. 10 p.m., what was the need for a medical checkup at that hour? There was no medical emergency. Victims were made to walk open to media. Assassins were unknown to each other. Weapons above 7 lakh rupees. All three surrendered. The police did not retaliate. And this comes at the back of Atiq and Ashraf both making claims, predicting almost the manner in which they were eventually killed. Does it not at least merit a proper inquiry, sir, before giving any clean sheet?
Nobody is giving the police a clean sheet. Please understand, you are repeatedly loading your question. Nobody is giving anybody a clean sheet. An investigation is underway. What my tweet sought to impugn, what it condemned, was trying to politicize the issue without any shred of evidence. You have some circumstances, each of which can be explained. A medical checkup at 10 p.m., so what? That's the time they were brought. They were arrested. They were taken at 10 p.m. They were the ones who walked up to the press to give an interview. They voluntarily did so. They were not pushed towards the press. And by the way, the meeting of these three people is not accidental. The meeting of these three people happened in a jail together, when they were in custody together. So, this is all twisting facts. There's an answer to all these circumstances. You can raise circumstances to suit your own theory.
Okay.
But you wait for an investigation. I'm not giving a clean sheet to anybody.
Right.
I'm saying do not condemn anybody without evidence. Don't jump to political conclusions because it suits you. Then you are being political and you are not being legal. You're not being rational. You are not basing your theories on any evidence.
Okay, you also, sir, in your tweet bring out religion. You say that the opposition has been, they in fact, whenever it comes to a terrorist or a criminal from the Muslim community, they come out in this way. They try and put a fake narrative. Being a officer of law, sir, when you bring out these arguments in your tweet, in some way, aren't you sort of justifying the murder or, these questionable encounters which have taken place in Uttar Pradesh?
No, nobody is saying that. Listen, you've got the wrong end of the story, my dear friend. Nobody is saying, I don't know why you are creating an argument which nobody has ever made. Nobody is justifying extrajudicial killings, period. But one is saying, don't jump to conclusions that in this case there was an extrajudicial killing. There was a murder, yes. Whether anybody else is complicit is at large. The question has to be investigated. Do not take it upon yourself to investigate when you are not investigating it. You are surmising, you are speculating, and you are being politically naive or too clever by half.
I'm only putting questions, sir, which are there in public domain, which people would like some answers to. Neither you or I can or have the power, in fact, to give any clean chits or, in fact, accuse somebody. We can only ask these questions, and then, of course, there is a judicial process as well. Now, let me ask you this, sir. You call out the opposition for being for siding or creating fake narratives around Muslim criminals and terrorists. But what about the BJP leaders celebrating these killings, people invoking religious slogans, even the killers invoking religious slogan? Isn't this a religion being used to send out a chilling message to a particular community? Mr. Jethmalani.
Listen, anybody who rejoices at the murder, extrajudicial or not, of anybody, right? I condemn that. Nobody should rejoice even in the extrajudicial killing of a thorough criminal. That's a short answer to your question. As far as the Jai Shri Ram slogans are concerned, there are some people who claim that on social media that there were no such slogans. I don't know what the truth is. Are you 100% sure, Ankit, that there were such slogans raised?
Sir, I'm 100% sure about what we ran and what other channels also ran. The footage very clearly marks these slogans that were chanted of Jai Shri Ram and then surrender, surrender.
Communal slogans. All right. So maybe there was some angle. Maybe they didn't like him. Maybe they thought that this Muslim mafia had gone too far. I don't agree with what they said, but they did it. I condemn what they said. If they raised the name of Jai Shri Ram before killing these people, I think it was unwarranted.
They raised these slogans after killing them, but in the end, Mr. Jethmalani, I would like to ask you, sir, the government of Uttar Pradesh and the police of Uttar Pradesh gave an affidavit, a sworn affidavit in the Supreme Court saying that it will be their duty to provide protection to Atiq Ahmed and Ashraf. This was a promise made to the Supreme Court. In view of that, they have not been able to fulfill their duty and their promise to the Supreme Court. Don't you think the Uttar Pradesh police and the government failed in discharging the duty and a promise which they made to the Supreme Court?
Well, I do not know I don't know whether there was any look at the moment, Ankit. There is no evidence that there was any complicity, right? At this stage, only going by media reports, as a lawyer, I refuse to say there was any negligence. I will wait for the findings of a competent judicial body in this matter. Until then, alternatively, I will wait for the Supreme Court to conduct its own investigation if it does. The matter is coming up before the Supreme Court on the 24th. Until then, I will hold my hand. Until there is some body either appointed by the Supreme Court or appointed by the state government of UP, which goes into this matter and makes some findings based on credible evidence.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jethmalani, for taking those questions and explaining to our viewers what your tweet meant, in which you have hit out at another senior prominent lawyer, Mr. Kapil Sibal. Thank you so much, Mr. Jethmalani, for joining us here on Breaking Views. All right, that was Mr. Jethmalani, in fact, putting out and explaining what he meant, his position as far as these encounters are concerned. Joining me now to discuss this further, we have Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Prakash Singh, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, is also with us. Mr. Tiwari, I would like your response, sir, because he has also attributed and taken name of the Samajwadi Party, saying that Kapil Sibal, by creating or by tweeting out the things that he has, he's possibly discharging his duty towards the Samajwadi Party.
Good evening, Ankit, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. I think the headline of this interview of the BJP MP should be, I don't know and I don't care whether you know, but there is no negligence, no complicity, UP government is right. This is a government, as Dushyant Dave, senior advocate, Supreme Court, yesterday said that this is state-sponsored killing. The Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar said it seems to be a scripted killing. So the message is out that there is a complicity, and people on the ground, as the media showed, said that the killers came in the police vehicle and went by the police vehicle. So this is what the circumstances are.
But Ghanshyam, these are also hearsay, right? We'll have to wait for an investigation. Like I asked Mr. Jethmalani as well, that you are claiming that the opposition does not have any evidence. Similarly, he doesn't have any evidence to give a clean sheet to the Uttar Pradesh police or the government. You also cannot, attribute motives without having, without having any proper evidence to claim your, to back your claim, sir.
I'm saying two things. One is that a government which is very strong on headline management, I am looking at the motives that people are relating to. For example, a government that is so strong on headline management wants to manage the headline that the then governor of Jammu Kashmir, Satyapal Malik, said that Prime Minister told him to keep quiet on Pulwama when 40 soldiers were martyred, and when he said that the CRPF kept demanding planes that his government denied. This is a sensational thing. And after that, he went on to be governor of 3 other states. So clearly there is enough reason for this government to do. Second, for a month, this government was parading the criminals, building a media propaganda out of it. And right after this killing, that, by the way, was conducted by 3 rookies, Maharaj Lavlesh Tiwari, who 2014 apparently joined the Bajrang Dal, as per his brother, and is district coordinator. Most media channels are not carrying it. They are not carrying the images that he has with senior BJP leaders, including a cabinet minister. So clearly, it is the BJP cabinet ministers in Uttar Pradesh who said that ye asmani faisla hai, and they justified it. So that they celebrated and justified means that their designs were successful. So
you are creating, or you are questioning, a set of circumstances, as is Mr. Kapil Sibal. These are circumstances being alluded to some sort of a conspiracy. Prakash Singh ji, you've been at the helm of the affairs as far as the Uttar Pradesh police is concerned, and this is not the first time questions have been raised as far as the UP police's functioning or the alleged encounters are concerned, sir. In this very case, prima facie, does it not look like dereliction of duty of some sorts, or at least duty not being carried out properly as far as the Uttar Pradesh police is concerned, sir?
See, there are 2 major issues on which I would like to comment upon. I mean, in the wake of the killing of the 2 persons, Atiq and his brother Ashraf. Firstly, how is it that the assailants or the killers managed to get so close to the people and they managed to execute their plan? Now, I think there's definitely, these are my prima facie observations on the basis of whatever I have seen on the TV channels. I would say prima facie, yes, there is a certain amount of negligence in the performance of duty. There is dereliction, and these people were perhaps caught unawares or whatever it is, but it cannot be justified. When they were given the duty of protecting those people, it was their duty. They should have ensured that the 2 people, they are not subjected to any physical assault, much less a point blank killing. So there was definitely some negligence on the part of the police. But to jump from this to the conclusion that this was a state sponsored killing and there was a conspiracy by the state government to liquidate these people, here I would totally disagree with you. Ankit, let me tell you that I'm not denying that there are occasions when police does hanky-panky and they get people liquidated. I'm not denying that. It has happened in different states across the country. But in the circumstances that the accused were placed in, I don't think any police officer in his senses would plan their killing at that moment. No police officer in his senses would do that. And I think it is quite mysterious. I would say the circumstances are very mysterious, and the truth would come out only if these 3 youngsters, these 3 young are properly interrogated, because I refuse to believe that they had any grudge against them, they had any animus against them, or they wanted to be famous as is being advertised in the newspapers. I just don't believe it. No, I think these people...
So while, sir, you are saying that we should not jump to the conclusion of a conspiracy of state collusion in that sense, but there are enough circumstantial evidences possibly, or at least mystery surrounding this entire circumstances, that do merit a proper investigation. And then yes, I ask you the second question, sir. Can the state government appointed commission, because the opposition is raising questions on the state government itself, should the people wait for that, or should there be a Supreme Court mandated inquiry into this matter?
Look, if Supreme Court is not going to administer the country, every time going to Supreme Court and asking them to, are we going to, if we are going to disbelieve the high courts, if we are going to disbelieve the district courts, then shall we liquidate all these establishments? We have to respect and we have to trust the institutions that are there in place. And unless you have something on the face of it that this judge is partisan and he's been dishonest and he's pro-BJP. Unless you have any such thing,
Right.
you should trust the judges. Don't run down these institutions. And the Supreme Court can't be administering such a huge country with 1,001 problems.
Right.
So let us wait for the judicial inquiry. And I'm very confident that if these three people are executed, we will get to know the mastermind behind this plot. Because he must have hired these people.
Like Mr. Prakash Singh is saying, wait, give the inquiry commission a chance. It will come out with the true facts before you start alluding political motives to this entire matter.
Well, in the Vikas Dubey case, the inquiry commission came out, and yet the chief minister almost braggingly on a television interview said, "Gaadi palat bhi sakti hai," on related matter. So sometimes arrogance and unaccountability allows you to give away. The fact that BJP ministers were celebrating. Look at this model and how dangerous it is for democracy. That there is a person who has exceptional disrepute for his crime. Then for a month, propaganda was built on an ecosystem and supportive media that everybody started baying for the blood. And in a span of a week, you hear encounters and then this killing. This model is dangerous for democracy, where you have perfected an art that such a killing will be celebrated by an entire ecosystem.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, may I also quickly get a response from you to what Mr. Jethmalani has also tweeted. He in his tweet said that the opposition, and he blamed the opposition of creating fake narratives, especially when the criminal on the other side or the terrorist on the other side is Muslim. He is attributing that it is some sort of the politics of appeasement that plays this out.
If there is any appeasement, I can say this very clearly, that BJP has 100 members of parliament in current Lok Sabha, more than that, who have criminal charges. In Vidhan Sabha, more than 100 MLAs who have criminal charges. Overall, they would have 300 to 400 MPs and sitting MPs and MLAs who have criminal charges. Maybe they all belong to a single religion, and it is BJP that wants to appease criminals of a single religion. This is why it's track record. You look at the list of MPs, MLAs, over nearly 300 to 400. So you can see if the religious angle is there. But the point I'm trying to make is a model where an ecosystem is ready to celebrate killing. And that ecosystem will include cabinet ministers. And almost like a badge of honor today, politically, they wear the fact that this killing happened under their watch. So press celebrates, a section of press celebrates, the cabinet minister celebrates, the BJP workers celebrate.
Sir, I'm glad you are only attributing it to a section of media. We've been trying to ask most important hard questions as far as this case is concerned. In the end, Mr. Prakash Singh, I want to understand from you, sir, 10,000 encounters have been recorded in the state of Uttar Pradesh, as per the data suggests, in the last 6 years, 183 of which have been fatal as well. In that scenario, sir, is this a clean chit, a carte blanche been given to the Uttar Pradesh police to use gun as a means of justice, sir?
Look, I do not have the figures of actual encounters, but let me tell you, the state police claims, and it is for the those who disbelieve this to challenge it. The state police claims that following every encounter, they have carried out the procedures prescribed by the NHRC and the Supreme Court. There are 16 guidelines by the 16-point guidelines by the Supreme Court, and they say they have adhered to it. Now, if anybody thinks that no, they have not adhered to it, let him challenge it. I mean, there's no point in just saying that these were false encounters. You take any particular encounter and challenge the circumstances of the case.
Sir, I beg your pardon, sir. I'm completely out of time on this. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the broadcast. It's an important case. There will be a lot of discussion around it in the days to come. Trust NDTV to ask all the hard questions as far as this case and others are also concerned. That's all the time that we have in this edition of Breaking News. News and updates continue on NDTV. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.